Evening racing community, how are we all doing? Kieran here, back with another podcast, this time covering day 3 of Glorious Goodwood. A bit of a mixed bag with my first couple of days. We only had the one winner on the first day with Scandinavia, and we unfortunately drew a blank at Goodwood today, nothing at all. Mawadi finished a decent third at 22-1, but we only backed him to win because of the small field. Bye, we had a couple of decent places over at Galway, so just a small loss on the day, which keeps in profit for the month with 1 day to go. We move on to day 3. Now, I'm sorry this podcast is out very late. I've been very busy at home and this, that, and t'other, so I haven't been able to get this podcast out as quick as I possibly could. Hopefully, if you get to watch this and we can find a few winners for Thursday's racing. Starting with the 120, the Coral Handicap over 1 mile 2 furlongs, where I like the look here. I know Best Secret is currently favourite for Waffenham. James Dawes booked to ride. Decent third at Ascot last time. The one I like in here, and there's a bit of a price, he's actually drifted really badly in the market. I think he's outside of the party now, or he was earlier when I looked at it. Is Ernest Blofeld of John Gosden's. Now he's in Waffenham second string. Sumion will ride. I actually backed him at Ascot on the Saturday of the meeting in the handicap. He was drawn wide that day. Was raced up prominently on the outside and didn't quite get home. Purely and simply because of the early exchanges. Kind of faded back and ended up finishing last of the field. But he was a decent foot, so I could probably put a line through that. Because the fact that he was drawn wide and pushed up, and potentially Ascot just didn't suit. Comes here, he's got a lot better draw here in 3, and hopefully Christophe Sumion, who takes the ride, can potentially get him in a decent sit. And he could go back to the form. He was obviously 4th in the London Gold Cup up at Newbury the time before, and that form always works out pretty well as well. The third that day, Quentin de Bow was the horse that won the race at Ascot, where unfortunately Ernest Blofeld was last. So hopefully he can go on that and push on. I think the last time I saw was about a 20-1 shot for this race. You're going to get 4, maybe even 5 places on the day. And I'd be willing to take a punt on him in a decent looking handicap. Then we move on to the Richmond Stakes over 6 furlongs, the Group 2. And in this field you've got Copper Run, who's probably going to go off favourite for Clive Cox, third in the Coventry on second start. Now the Coventry form isn't looking too bad. Obviously we haven't seen Gustard the winner since. Do or Do Not has finished second 3 times since. Obviously finished second earlier in the week. Havana Hurricane second in the Super Sprint a couple of weekends ago. Obviously backing up now is 12 days later. Is this going to come too soon? Maximise was disappointing up at Newmarket after winning his first 2 races. The horse I quite like in here, and it comes from the Rafe Beckett stable, and his horses are absolutely flying at the moment. Obviously, have the 125 to a winner today, is Egoli, or Engoli, I think that's how you pronounce it, to 5th on debut before winning up at Newbury. No, he won at Newbury last time out, sorry. In between that, he won at York. The form at York, the race, is turning out pretty nicely. Stellar Sunrise, that was in behind, won the maiden on Tuesday here at Goodwood. And the fact that the Beckett team's in such good form, I think Egoli looks a very good each-way prospect in this race. And the fact that the form's turning out well. Been off the track again. I was only been off the track for 12 or so days, having run at the Newbury meeting, the same as Havana Hurricane. I think he's got a bit more scope to him, and I think he could go close here. We then move on to the Gordon Stakes. Now, this will be short and sweet, 2:30 over 1 mile 4 furlongs. I think Merchant will just win for the Haggis stable. Obviously won really nicely up at Royal Ascot last time. Form of that race seems to be working out very nicely as well, and he's only going to improve. I was half tempted to back Rabidi of Roger Varian's. Obviously finished a good third in the Queen's Vase. Obviously, form of the Queen's Vase is pretty strong, with obviously Scandinavia was 5th in that race, has come out won twice since. There's a few others that come out of that race and won as well. And then obviously Aidan O'Brien sent over the unexposed Gustavian as well. But I think Merchant will get the job done. He will prove that he is the class animal in the field in this Group 3. And I think it will be a step up into Group 2, maybe in Group 1 level after this. Probably won't be a betting race for me, as there is only 7 runners. I'll just be willing to watch the race and see what unfolds. But I think Merchant, as the market suggests, is the proven, is the certain winner of the race. Now moving on to the 305, the Nassau Stakes, so the fillies and mares over the 1 mile 2 furlongs. Now this is a pickle to fall through indeed. Like, the obvious one is obviously Whirl. Ryan Moore picks the ride second in the Oaks and then won the Pretty Polly last time. Obviously, Calpana was second in the Pretty Polly, has come out and run a decent race over the weekend in the King George, which is second to Cal Gannon. See the Fire was a decent third in the race. Did that run in the Prince of Wales? Now the Prince of Wales was a right mess, like we've said before. Obviously, Ombudsman's been beaten in it since. We haven't seen Amabat as yet. And you got Cezenia in here for Joel Murphy. They take the swing at this race. Obviously, won the Coronation Stakes in a battle last time out with Zagara. Now the rain is coming. Now there's been a bit of rain over today and got into the grain, but obviously they're expecting heavy rain and potentially thunderstorms tomorrow at Goodwood, and I think this can only enhance the chances of Bedtime Story. I know that you're going to take a risk. She's very she's not flashy, she's not classy, but I think she could get the job done here. First time headgear goes on, obviously that could help. Wayne Lawton, we've always seen this week with Scandinavia that Wayne Lawton potentially could be on the one that wins. He won with Scandinavia, obviously Ryan Moore was on Illinois. And I think about 5-1 currently. I think it's definitely worth a play. I might have half a point win on her. Whirl is the obvious one, but she's backing up off of 33 days after 2 solid hard races. Maybe this one could come potentially too soon, especially if she's potentially being aimed at the Arc at the end of the season. So I'd be willing to take a chance on Bedtime Story at about 5-1 currently. We then move on to a very competitive handicap over 5 furlongs at 3:45. The Bocelli handicap, to be precise. We have an absolute minefield in here. 16 runners. And one that took my eye. Now, one that did stand out, like Ruby's Prophet's favourite. I can see that off of the fact that she won over course and distance back at the start of the season. But the one that stood out for me, and I think I put him up previously, is Wheels of Fire for Richard Hannon. Now, he's right down the bottom, having finished third on the last couple of starts. But he's had credible runs that had the course over course and distance at Catterick last time. Catterick, he was very badly hampered in the run, so he could definitely improve that. But this horse was actually mentioned in Hannon's stable tour at the start of the season as potentially a handicapper down the line, and they had big handicap in it. Now, he was originally entered for Tuesday, got withdrawn late on. I think they didn't really see what the reason for taking him out was. I don't know if it was going or what. But the fact that he gets in off basically no weight here, 8 stone 6, Sam Hitchcock booked for the ride. I think currently he's tissue priced up at around 16-1. And with 16 runners, you're easily going to get 4 or 5 places here. And I've backed him before. He's run over the course, so that's no issue. I think he could be a player here. And at 14, 16-1, could be an each way play for sure. We then go on to the 4:20, the Nursery over 7 furlongs. And to be honest, I know there's 11 runners, but I have no opinion in this race whatsoever. Like, nothing really stands out. I can't really suggest much. No, so Albert's won his last two. He's favourite. The only one, now quickly skim through this. Sorry about this. The only one who I could potentially give a swing to and a go to is Goldwork would be the one. Currently tissued up at 14-1 now. He won over the course over 6 furlongs over 6, yeah. A couple of starts back, and then was 4th in a very competitive handicap at Chester on nursery debut at Chester. 4th that day. Now, not every horse gets on with Chester. We all know that. Coming back to a course which he's won at previously, potentially he could outrun his odds, and depending on what place turns we get in the morning, I might have a swing at him, but it's a very loose look at the moment, to be honest. Don't particularly like nurseries. And then the next race, the 455, the Maiden Filly Stakes, it's a similar circumstance over 7 furlongs. I don't like maidens at the best of times looking at this. Obviously, you never know. There's 18 runners, and just, yeah, it's a minefield, to be honest. If I was going to be pushed for one, potentially I would look at the Carl Burke one at the top, which is Islada, if I pronounce that correctly. Obviously, second at York first time out, son of St Mark's, daughter of St Mark's Basilica. Obviously, all his horses will be coming to the fore later on in the season, I would have thought. But she's quoted at 130 favourite. I'm not quite sure what price she currently is, but I wouldn't be forcing anybody to have a bet in this race. It's more a watching brief towards the future. I haven't seen many of these run, and they wouldn't, unless somebody's really pushed to have a bet in this race. Like we've had today, Tuesday we had the maiden with Naval Light went off short price favourite, turned over. We've had the Queen Mary, the Zelina, who was the Queen Mary favourite for the day, turned over. Like, if you want to get involved in these shorties in maidens, by all means, but it's not my cup of tea. And then we move on to the 5:30, the World Pool Bet Tote Handicap over 1 mile and for 1 mile at 5:30. This is more my bag. You got 20 runners over a mile. You're gonna get 5 odd places in this, and the one I like, and it is going to be completely off the cuff, is let's go with, people are going to hate me now because I'm literally just looking through Principality, and he won over the track. He's had 2 runs at the track. He's won here once. He's not suggested that he may stay, but he could be a decent price. Obviously, Kieran Schumacher in the saddle for Harry Eustace, who's not having a bad time at the moment, could potentially outrun his odds, but I will have a further look down through later on. Another one that could stand out is, let's look through this. Sorry about this, guys. Is the James Ferguson horse Calvo Nero. He's another one. He won over course and distance 2 starts back, and could potentially be one to fill the frame. But I will have a further look, and the selections will be up later on. But in the big races further on up, the certified, I'm gonna definitely have a go with Bedtime Story. I think she's a definite play, especially if the rain comes. And then the other race, the first race, second race. Sorry, I'm very sweet on Ngoli as well. They'll probably be my 2 best bets for tomorrow. Obviously, we've got the 2 races at Galway that me and Joe and Jamie discussed on the other podcast. If you haven't gone and seen that, go and watch it now. It's on my platform. Obviously, we've had a decent day with that podcast today. And that is the first race, which I fancy won in the first in the novice chase over 2 miles, and then in the big race the Galway hurdle as well. My selections are over there. But in regards to this video, guys, I hope you all enjoyed it. Sorry it's a bit rushed. I do apologise. I'm trying to get as much content out there as I possibly can. Please like and subscribe to the channel If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, drop comments in if you want, guys, on your best bet for day 3, and enjoy your day's punting, guys, and happy punting to you all.